welcome to the 18th Executive Summit. Confronted with this crisis, of course, we have improvised.
And we sliced it down in 4 topics. Reimagine, redesign, reorganize and regenerate.
Navi is going to discuss this reimagined part.
Let's use this crisis as an opportunity to go within as a company and introspect and re-examine as well as maybe redefine who we are, why we exist, and how we see the world. And once you have a clear understanding, then you can actually change what you do.
I don't know, Navi, if you can see this, but so it's about almost a 50-50 split.
I would say it was almost the American election that we were looking
at. Yeah, exactly.
Blue and red.
We promised we wouldn't go to discuss the American election. This is a difficult question, right? What's the purpose of purpose? What is interesting for you from this score, Menno? Any surprises?
Well, making better marketing slogans is not a surprise, the last one. I'll visit Spain, Albert Tort, who is here. Hi, Albert.
Hello, everyone from Spain.
Hi. You not only answered the question, but you also came up with a new concept.
As a main motivation, to create a better future for our children. This means putting in front of everything people.
I will travel a little bit and go to the US.
The options that we had here felt very temporary. People were thinking almost generationally in their responses, so it was very intriguing.
Before we move on to our next part, I would really like to go back to the CXO panel. So, Pierre, what is your takeaway?
Well, first of all, for the purpose of that panel, I've just adopted a new name, Joseph. So
yeah, the 4 J's.
Call us the 4 J's, okay? I think we have 3 pragmatic observations and conclusions which we are keen to share.
I went right to the implementation of how do you implement things that Navi was suggesting, and I went right to Agile, that if your organization is not Agile at this point, it really needs to be.
In a few months, we managed to achieve this, and I don't think we'll ever go back to where we were.
What happens now as a bit of a shock, that it looks as if we forgot a very important category of that, is the employees.
Our change agent here is Professor Marcus du Sartoy. So he's Professor of Mathematics at the University of Oxford.
I think it was quite a challenge when you said, could machines be more creative than humans? I think that's a very hard question to answer because we think in very different ways.
An AI should be able to hold a patent.
Oh, but wait a moment. Sorry to interrupt you, Menno, but I would like to know first what the audience thinks about this last question. Mm-hmm. We have about 77% of people that say no, AI should not be able to hold a patent.
I think that we're going to have to reimagine what we think of as ownership of ideas.
You're a Go player yourself, are you?
I was very, I thought this was humanity against the machines. Yeah. And, I was rooting for humanity.
The group that talked about the employee experience is France.
Yes, exactly. Indeed, I've been a bit nasty to our guests because I told them that they were thinking a bit like humans rather than an AI.
John, I have to tell you, you're one of the most versatile people that I ever met in my life. The Economist calls you Mr. Creativity. What you're saying basically, or if I understand you correctly, is that these 6 intelligences, if you apply them right, that's where you liberate the creativity of your organization.
I do some advisory work for national security, and they actually train people in the military in what they call situational intelligence, which is basically context intelligence, a sense of intuitively understanding where you are so that you can navigate more efficiently and more effectively than what circumstances might otherwise require of you.
The transformation in organization, is there anything to learn from jazz music, John?
There's a ton, and if we had several hours, I could kind of exhaust the list. You can't learn jazz just like you can't learn how to play the piano from a PowerPoint presentation. Jazz is demonstrating that doing this is a capability. It's not wishes, it's not culture, it's not exhortations from the top. It's about practice.
Ruth, is a corporate activist from Brazil.
Why is an activist not working for an NGO, but working inside a large corporation?
That's a good question, and I ask myself that question every day.
What I understand is that Lush takes a pretty extreme approach, if you will, to purpose, technology and agility. So some of the things that we have been discussing today as what really matters now.
As we begin to bump really into the ecological limits of the planet, it becomes more and more important that we galvanize the whole of society. Then we gave ourselves the liberty to become extremely experimental.
Is it a wise decision to create your own hardware if you're a retail company?
Of course not. We had over 50 shops that had that on the window, instantaneous. Please don't enter with symptoms of COVID, racism, or homophobia. And that went viral.
We're really looking forward to your conclusion, your concluding remarks.
Thank you, Michiel, for setting the expectations so low that they can be easily beaten. This notion of a post-vitam analysis that each company should do, because each company changed gears during COVID. And the question is, how do we keep it going? A purpose needs to acquire a certain level of coherence. Because still I fear that there are purposes which are published with great fanfare, etc. But does that purpose apply in everyday's decision making?